Right then, so backgrounds. What shall we say on backgrounds? You can say something about your amazing African heritage. Let's go for that.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Ghana, when I was a little girl, when Ghana won its independence. So I was about 3 or 4, but I remember images of Kwame Nkrumah. That's my earliest memories. And then I came to this country when I was 10 years old, and I never thought anything of it, but actually it's really incredible looking back on my life. And I've looked back on my life a lot recently because I've been trying to understand how I got here to this place of being a sort of kind of a trainee activist, come potential sort of campaigning for Mayor of London, and doing things that I never thought, I could do. But I grew up in a house which, before my time, was a house full of revolutionaries. And these people like Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, Senghor of Senegal, and a couple of other people were mentored by my guardian, Mrs. Amy Garvey, who was the wife of the great Marcus Garvey. And literally, these people were mentored by her in the house that I grew up in, admittedly before my time, but I know these stories very well. They all went back to Africa and they became leaders of their countries and led them all to, independence and freedom from colonialism. So, when I think back on little moments in my life, I kind of feel that something was influencing me and building up. And also because I never belonged. Being half Jamaican and half Ghanaian and coming to this country at the age of 10, I didn't belong anywhere. I got used to not belonging. And at first it was uncomfortable. But then at some point I realized that it was my strength because it just allowed me to have my own way of thinking, just not influenced by any group of people. So it sort of comes in handy now to be on the outside.
Yeah, so that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, oh my God, you're mixing and connected to all these amazing black people. And I mean, I'll say something about my background, which isn't quite as exciting, but so I was brought up in this rainy, Pennine Hill town of Hyde or Bredbury, or my main memory is it was raining. That's the main thing about my upbringing, is it was always raining, and I had little shorts because kids in the 1970s, if you're a little boy, you always had to wear these little short trousers, so you'd be walking to school. Do you remember that?
Weird, no, I don't, but why is it that
I don't know.
Little boys were always wearing shorts?
Yeah. So you'd be walking to school and it'd be drizzling because it didn't properly rain. That'd be exciting, just drizzled, and your knees would be damp all day. So there we go. That's my background.
So do you think that rain kind of affected you psychologically?
Yeah.
Turned you into a sort of crazy, mad, angry? No, you're not crazy, mad, or angry, but
no, I think that's more to do with my.
Reflective.
I think that was more to do with my mum. My mum was a local Methodist preacher, and she knew what was right and wrong in the world, and God forbid anyone contradict her. So she imbued me with a little bit of moral passion, as it were, for better or worse. But yeah, I was more than happy to move away. Came to London when I was 19 and never looked back really. To go to the London School of Economics, and then I left to do bad things.
That's the one thing I always say about you, that you walked away from doing a degree in economics.
Yeah. I survived 1 year at London School of Economics, and then in a youthful spasm of enthusiasm, I sort of decided that everything was corrupt, which it was. And, people were going to LSE and were just going to move into the elites and exploit the world and nature, and that wasn't really my cup of tea. And so I left and read Gandhi for a year.
Wow.
And went to prison and various other things. So I sort of sabotaged my progression into the elites.
So that was the 1970s. God,
That was
you seem-
84, I think. 84, 85, yeah. When I was
God, you
there.
seem so young to me. Because in the 80s, things were settling into a kind of a comfortable time in England, right? I mean, it's not like the 70s where everybody was rebelling and protesting and stuff. But you, you single-handedly decided to turn the 80s into...
No, there was the peace movement, so there was a lot of people doing stuff, and I just learnt so much from lots of people that are older than me. And one of the interesting things, I think, is a lot of people in the 70s and the 80s, they really knew what they believed in, and they believed there was a right and a wrong thing in this world, and that sort of dissipated, you know, over the 90s and last 20 years, but it's coming back, of course, hence us. So you said a bit about Africa and everything, and do you want to say a little bit more about that, and, you know, about being in London and how you see the world?
You know, yesterday I went out giving out leaflets, and this was for Beyond Politics and the 25th July, Bring Down the Government.
Bring down the government.
Yeah.
Say that now.
Bring down the government, yeah. And I just asked people the simple question, are you happy with the government? I could not believe, I mean, out of about 20 people I spoke to, a good 18 of them, I mean, one woman just burst out laughing for like 1 minute with such cynicism, you know, sarcastic. And everybody just felt that the government is, dare I say, like, shit. And it was very heartwarming and really fueled me with real sense of the fact that we're doing the right thing, that we're catching the zeitgeist, that it's time for change. But then on the other hand, you know, sometimes, you know, you just talk to people you know, and even though they're conscious that so much is wrong and they want change, but they're not wanting to make themselves uncomfortable to change anything in their lives except what they get up every day to do, you know, take their kids to nurseries and, I don't know, get their Ocado shopping and whatever, you know. You just feel alone, you know. But when I'm with you guys, I feel normal. And, you know, let's just hope we get a lot more people feeling normal with us.
Yeah, and we've got this climate problem, haven't we? So say something about that. Because that's really affected you, hasn't it? Well, it's affected millions of people. I mean, everyone around the world sort of has got any sense of humanity is doing their head in, right?
Yes.
But, you know, how's that affected you?
The thing is, I'm in a state of constant shock every day that the science is giving us all this information, and we are so privileged to have these people who care, you know, and dedicated their lives to this. And I mean, it's a cliche to say this, but how can our governments, who are they? What kind of people are they? I don't understand who don't find this a priority, you know. I mean, they've spent years dealing with Brexit. You know, before that, I don't know, Boris Johnson as Mayor of London was sort of busy posturing around, you know, with even the Olympics. I mean, when I think about it, how can you have a climate in a world that's collapsing and put all your energy into some games? I don't care how much kudos it gave London. Yeah, where will London be in a few years' time, you know? But I sometimes think about you. You've been doing this for so long. I've only been in this space for just over a year, and already I'm worn out and a lot of the time disillusioned as well by people. And I think of you. So much of your life has been doing this. You must be very strong and have a real deep sense of hope in humanity.
Well, maybe.
But what drives?
I mean, coming back to my mum, you see, my mum was an amazing woman, you know, she just got up every day and tried to make the world a better place according to her understanding of it. And her understanding of it was, you know, to do charity work and stuff, you know, Christian Aid and Oxfam and all these things. And every minute she had over beyond looking after me and my brother and, you know, making enough money for us was doing this sort of work. She'd have events and she used to sell, you know, things from the third world, tradecraft, and she was, you know, getting money off. She was just harassing people all the time for money. And, you know, I think what I got from her was this, you know, you're alive basically to serve the common good, you know. Or she would say serve God because, you know, she's Christian and all that. And I think when I was about 21, I was I was really angry at everything. And when I was 21, I just thought, Roger, there's no point getting stressed out about the state of the world because you don't control it. So if you just get up every morning and do what you can, that's the most you can do. So there's no point getting bitter and twisted and stressy and disillusioned. You know, the world is as it is. Your job is to get up and do what you can to make it better. So obviously I'm not like that all the time. You know, everyone's human, aren't they? Get annoyed about stuff. But fundamentally, I'm not reliant on the world doing things for me. You know, it's like people got this idea they're entitled. Well, you know, maybe we are, but there's no evidence for it particularly. You know, we don't know why we're here and we don't know what's going to happen after we die. But, you know, we don't know hardly anything that's important. But what we do know is try and live your life without destroying the next 1,000 generations. That seems a fairly sensible idea. So let's go for that.
Well, I'd like to say something super, super serious in this moment, which is that when I started on this journey, or maybe before, you know, when you think about great people, you know, Martin Luther King, you know, Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, you know, who sacrificed their lives for stuff that they believed in. And I always thought they were like extraordinary human beings. They were different from us. But in this last year or so, there are moments when I have felt that actually they're just normal, ordinary human beings. And we can all do this. We can all make this kind of sacrifice. We've just got to believe in something, you know, strong enough. And to save our planet is, if we can't believe in that, then we don't believe in anything at all. So that's my serious moment. Let's talk about music. No, let's not.
Yeah, well, this comes on to the final thing I think I personally want to say is, you know, I mean, we're just starting out on this journey with Beyond Politics, aren't we? And, you know, let's be honest, we don't really know what we're doing. And I never really know what I'm doing. That's one of my rules, is just to do things without really knowing what I'm doing. But, you know, it's like we're just, at the end of the day, we're not setting ourselves up, are we, as, hey, we're better than, you know, we're the main people and everyone else is down there. What we're saying, as I understand it, or, you know, speaking for myself, is no one's going to save this world apart from ordinary people. Because certainly the people in charge aren't. We know that because I've met some of them. It's a highly traumatizing experience being people in charge. And you realise, what? You're in charge? Anyway, so, you know, that's the message, isn't it, of Beyond Politics? As I understand it is, we're just too, you know, I mean, obviously we're a bit weird and stuff, but fundamentally we're ordinary people and we're going for it because we've got to take massive risks. Otherwise we know we're all dead. And we're inviting other people to participate in taking control of our public life, of our common good.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll see how that pans out.
I'd like to say, I'm not sure that anybody is ordinary. I think that everybody can be extraordinary. And I think that, you know, if we all think about our individual lives, you know, there have been moments when we've had to make some quite bold decision, you know, something we didn't think we could do. I mean, I remember when I was a little kid, I was about 4 or 5 years old, we'd all get together and walk to school. And there was this kind of, in my little child's mind, there was this sort of ravine in the road which we had to cross over we had to jump over it every day, right? And all the children just casually just jumped over it. when it came to me, you know, I was like looking at this hole thinking, and it was like a ravine. I mean, I'm sure it was actually only about this wide, but to me it was like this, you know. And I'm thinking, I can't do it, you know. But one day I just thought, fuck it, you know, I'm just going to go for it. And if I fall in, then at least I've just done it, and who cares? You know, I've had enough of this fear. So I jumped over it, and it was really, really easy, you know. So the point is that, you know, we've just got to just step out of our comfort zones, and, you know, you've stepped out of your comfort zone completely. You're
totally right. You're totally right. Like, ordinary isn't the right word. Everyone's extraordinary, because everyone has to cope with massive challenges in life.
Every day.
And that's what gives us our dignity, I think, and our respect, is everybody is up against it, you know. That's the nature of life. And I think what we're saying is, you experience all that in your personal life. Everyone's extraordinary. Everyone's a hero. Everyone has to deal with terrible things. So why can't we deal with this?
Yes.
This is just another thing we need to deal with. So let's get on with the job.
And I can't help, you know, saying that, you know, we're obsessed with heroes, you know, in people. I mean, especially movies. The idea of heroes is something that human beings are really drawn to. But heroes are normal people, you know. So, yeah, I would quote from M People.
To finish off.
M People, search for the hero inside yourself, you know, because right now the world needs you, and there's no two ways about it. But it's... we have to laugh a little bit, isn't it? You know, because it's also bloody serious. And I really love the fact that you inspire us, and you know, you've given us this idea that, you know, we must have some fun along the way, you know. Nothing has to be that serious, even if you're trying to save the world. I think that just politicians make everything so serious. They take the meaning, the fun, because if you don't laugh at something, actually you lose the meaning of it. And that's why comedians are so effective, because they take serious subjects and they make us laugh, you know, so it just feels deeper and more doable. So yeah, we just keep laughing and playing around a bit, but we're very serious.
Well, that's a Manchester thing.
Yeah.
For better or worse, I think, like, or maybe it's a British thing, but yeah, it's something I'm proud of, is to have that inconsistency. You know, the world's beyond serious.
Too.
It's a British thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, let's not, you know, the world's ending, but, you know, that's not going to stop you telling a joke every now and again. You know, we deserve that. We don't deserve being able to have a laugh. God help us. But so let's just finish with that core quote. I forgot, you say it again. So something about everyone's a hero from M People. What is it again? We'll finish
Search
with that.
for the hero inside yourself.
Search for the hero inside yourself. Let's finish on that note. It's the central slogan of Beyond Politics. Everyone can do it. Probably better than us.